Welcome to the Bass and Brews podcast, your weekly distraction from other high-quality podcasts. And now, your host, Alex from Swamp Rat Fishing, and the co-hostess with the mostest, the Jabberhammer, Paul Roberts.
Hooty hoo!
Hold on, Paul. That's what we went with. Hooty hoo. We've never talked about this. We've never discussed this. You're gonna make us look like jerks in the first 45 seconds of this podcast.
All he has to do is
change
talk.
up the hail. Right. That's all he's got to do.
I do what I want, motherfuckers.
Y'all look. Y'all look.
Listen, all right, everybody. It's Friday, at least when you're hearing this. And you know what that means? It's Bass and Brews time. Hopefully you're heading to your job or heading to rehab or whatever you're gonna do. Today we got Jake on. He's a fan favorite. He was back on the show.
Whoa. We can do a lot of things on this podcast, but burping in the mic ain't one of them.
But he talked about chatterbait fishing, the Susquehanna, and tonight we're going to talk about Ned rigs and winter baits. Before we get to that, though, just a little housekeeping. If you guys have looked at any of the social media, we've been pumping out as many promos as possible. But December 27th, 8 p.m. Eastern, the Bass and Brews podcast inaugural end of the year kegger live show. Like, I couldn't make that name long enough. But it's going to be amazing. And just so everybody's clear, you guys can be involved in this. And the way that you guys get involved is you go on to, you give us an email at bassandbrews@gmail.com. All one word, Bass and Brews. And make sure that you got a strong internet connection. We don't want any mess ups on that, but you can come in, answer a few questions, hang out. We're going to have a bunch of guests, fan favorites that you guys have enjoyed seeing this last year in 2022. They're going to be on, and we'd love to have you guys on joining us. Also, at the start of this episode, you probably heard something a little different. And what that is again, a way for you guys, because we love you guys. You brewskis are the most dysfunctional. What is it? No, not dysfunctional. What was it, Jabberhammer?
Debaucherousness.
Not debaucherousness. It's degenerate. You guys are the biggest,
degenerate,
best group of degenerates out there. And you guys can drop us a little voicemail. Drop us a voicemail at 609-837-9394. And you guys can get featured.
Can I send pictures? Can I send pictures to that number?
Oh yeah, dude, you can totally send. Oh yeah. It's a full phone number. It's really funny. Somebody mentioned, I think it was Evan Goes Outside. He mentioned, like, whose number is this that's getting like loaded up with this? And thankfully it's a Google Voice number. So I don't see it right away, thank God, because some of them, when we first released it, we got a good amount right away, and that really would have ruined the day. But again, you guys can hit that up, 609-837-9394.
Whatever you do, do not open any pictures that I send you in public or in front of children.
All right, so we're going to open them up at a public. I'm going to open them up at the Sky Zone on the big screen, is what you're telling me.
So you're going to go to a daycare. Don't do that.
And then, Paul, look at this. We sound fancy now. We look fancy. We both got new digs and new mics. Way to go, Paul. Way to go, Alex.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It only took you a couple episodes for you to be like, yeah, I can't sound like shit anymore.
Yeah, so hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Here's what I want. Normally we leave like a question on the Spotify episodes, and it's going to be up there. Whose background looks better, mine or Paul's? So that'll be the question of the week on there. Jake, man, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing all right, man. How are you guys?
Ouch. I actually got hooked in the head.
Oh Lord.
It's gonna be a good show.
Go ahead, Paul.
Oh, nothing. I just saw him hooking himself with a rig.
Also, Paul, I dig the hat. When I first saw the hat, you sent me that. You said your sister got that for you. I was like, that's a dumb hat. That's a dope ass hat.
That's a pretty sweet hat. That is a pretty sweet hat.
This is a duck camp old man's hat. It's got a bass on the front. And guess what? It's Bass and Brews yellow. I also have my Bucky the Beaver shirt on.
It'd be a lot better if it was a Wawa shirt.
Y'all got to see this.
Uh-oh.
The Bass and Brews podcast. Say hi.
We're waving.
They have a TikTok.
Influencer. He's such an influencer that he's live on TikTok right now.
No, that's
unauthorized. Unauthorized. I specifically said if people want to see the show, they need to pay. But
well, hopefully, look, can I talk about this real quick before we get started?
Absolutely.
If I meet, oh God, if I meet my TikTok live goal tonight, which is up there, I will taste a little bit of smelly jelly on my finger.
What?
Are you talking about like a dab size of KY? Or are you talking about a fingernail?
I get to determine. I'll probably just dab my finger in there and put it on my tongue and then immediately throw up. But I get to determine how much it is. This stuff smells like, yeah, fuck. It smells like a homeless woman's vagina. Is basically what it smells like.
How do you know what that smells like?
I go fishing in Harrisburg a lot.
I love that we're 6 minutes in and I already have the first promo for the show, and it's where Jake's talking about
nice.
Never mind. We'll leave that. What's the TikTok goal that you're trying to hit? It's 9,000 bananas, or
I don't. It's 20 of something. I think the way I looked at it, I think it equaled out to like 100. I don't know. It's 20 freaking stockings, I think, is what it is.
We were talking before we came on air, and Jake was kind of describing how the TikTok live thing, because we've had some requests for that. And I just came to the realization that I think the leprechaun from Lucky Charms actually runs that program, because it's like, hey, I got 9 stars and 8 balloons.
Oh, Pat, you better relax. This dude just gave me 4 stockings already. He needs to chill.
How many do you need to hit it?
No, I'm not talking about it no more. I don't want to do it.
All right, everybody.
It smells terrible, dude. I can only imagine how bad it tastes.
It probably tastes better than it smells. You know, like that homeless person you were talking about.
Yeah, well, yeah. Anyway, y'all want to talk about Ned Rigs?
We do. We want to talk about Ned Rigs.
I'll tell you, we did not invite Ned Rig Nancy on not to talk about Ned Rigs.
Listen, and this is specifically this is a comment on TikTok. People want to hear some more technique specific. And so we figured we'd have an expert on. We tried to get one on, and they couldn't. So we have Jake to talk about the Ned Rig now.
I don't understand how we're going to have a podcast about Ned Rigs, though, considering.
Paul, what are you looking at? Hold on, Paul. What are you looking at over there?
There's a basket.
Where are you looking?
If you would quit interrupting me and let me damn talk, it's a basketball game on that I'm watching. So y'all gonna, if y'all are listening, just don't pay no mind to them. I'm not looking away. Now you made me forget the damn joke I was gonna make.
My
and
favorite
now it's ruined.
I was thinking
now
about doing an angle
podcast.
Nope, I was thinking about an angle for the camera that was going to be like up high, looking like from ESPN. And Paul specifically said no, because I like to be able to look at the camera and talk to the guests so they know that I'm paying attention as he is staring at a sports ball game
on a 70-inch screen TV in the garage.
Why do you have it?
Makes sense.
All right, man. So Jake, Ned Rig. A lot of people fish it. It's proven
it works
to catch fish. Yeah,
it works. It'll catch anything you want to catch. It'll catch an 8-inch bass, and it'll catch a 25-inch bass. It'll catch anything you want to catch. It's like a Senko, but better. Did I
That's
just
my favorite.
Paul? I think
Paul's mad because I just released a video on YouTube Shorts and TikTok where I talk about how Senko fishing takes more skill than crankbait fishing.
I would agree.
Yeah. Paul gets really upset. And don't worry, everybody. This is that series that I'm starting on the socials. I've got a bunch, but one of them specifically talks about how the NED rig is basically the new improved, I think, version of a shaky head. I think it's more versatile, and they're kind of both trying to do the same thing a little bit. But I think the NED rig's better because it has a couple different retrieves that make it a better bait.
So, I mean, man, the NED rig for up here in the north, it's not new. You know, there's been people been using, I think, for a while. Like I don't want to quote it, but maybe like since the 70s or 80s. Like it, you know, but it's evolved, right? It's evolved, and now you got things like Elastec that you can take and you can stretch out. Like this worm is 4 inches long. I just stretched it to like what? I don't know, 30.
Mandy would love that if that was a household item, if you know what I mean.
So for everybody listening and not watching, he just stretched out that NED rig, and it was at least 1.5 Alex's tall.
You son of a bitch.
That's
I'm gonna tell you what,
man.
when this podcast gets canceled because of your blatant disrespect of American troops, I just want you to know this is why.
Yeah, how about it, Paul? Right? How about you respect the troops a little bit?
Yeah, Paul.
I don't even know how y'all got to this point. It makes no sense.
Paul specifically said before we got on, you need to stop with that shit. That's not what I'm saying, which is like the worst thing because he knows I'm going to dig into it now. Listen, Paul, I didn't sacrifice to earn that flag so you could shit on me. All right.
Well, we know damn well you didn't tie the knot holding that flag together.
Oh, boys.
All right. So anyway, you're saying NED rig's old way you're at, and it definitely is. If you look at the history of it, it started a long time ago, right? Some old dudes in Wisconsin or Minnesota or wherever they were at.
Somewhere up there, yeah. I mean, that's where they started using it.
Missouri or Arkansas, and the guy's name is Ned. I can't remember his last name, but it has evolved. And I'm saying this, trying to recall what I know from memory and not being an expertise at it. But he threw it on this really, really light line and really, really light head and in deep water, and the fish were biting it on the fall. So it was letting it, fall. This is the history that I can recall. And I think it was, was it Andrew Upshaw, or I can't remember the other guy's name. I'll look it up in a minute to confirm. But they talked about how if you take a crawfish plastic, and they did tests or something, I don't know. People have probably seen this video. The amount of bites went up when they pulled the pinchers off, and then the amount of bites went up when they pulled the little legs off. And then when you had just a little turd, that's where it really changed. But now we see people with NED rigs with all this shit on them. Instead of it being just a little turd, it's a NED rig with all this shit. So I think we're overcomplicating the NED rig. From what I can tell, I don't really fish it a lot, but it seems like we're starting to overcomplicate the NED rig.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think so. That's part of the evolution of it, right? So the evolution of the NED rig was, you had this stupid little worm, right? It's just this thing is 3 inches, 2.5 inches. It's stupid. It's the dumbest little thing you've ever seen in your entire life. But you throw it out there and it drops to the bottom and it just sits there. And it just kind of like, I don't know, just like, you know what I mean? And the bass come up and they look at it and they're like, huh, what the hell's that? It's kind of stupid looking. Well, I don't have hands to pick it up. Let me just, and they take a bite of it and then you feel it and it's like, whoop, and next thing you know, you got a big fish. Like, it's so dumb, right? It's just a dumbass little worm, but it's evolved so much. And now you can do like this, got some ticklers on it. You can do it with a little tube action. I mean, they're making them so freaking small. Like, look at this compared to the regular NED rig, right? Regular NED rig, right? Look at that. That is so dumb. I throw this on my trout fishing rod, which I don't trout fish. I had to buy this rod just to throw this tiny little Ned rig on it. Right? This is a medium light, 7-foot medium light rod with 5-pound braid and 6-pound fluorocarbon leader. Like, it's stupid. Like, you
I've got
a
a solid question, but did you just say 5-pound braid?
Yes.
That's a thing?
It is a thing, yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure you can buy 2-pound braid.
That's insane. What would you normally throw? Like, let's say somebody's for some reason just going to get started in it. And the only reason I say that is I think a lot of people throw this already, but let's cover a little bit of the basics. What are you normally throwing it on?
All right.
I would ask Jabber Hammer, but he doesn't throw it. The only thing he throws is his back out as he's trying to get to the buckies.
That hasn't happened since we have known each other. And secondly, I do not leave the house without 2 packs of Ned rigs or TRDs, the small little turds, and some Ned, and I never leave the house without them. And if fishing gets that shitty, I still will not tie it on, but it is in the boat.
It's in the boat. Just in case. Just in case
somebody comes by and is like, I'm killing them on a Ned rig, I will tie that bitch on then.
All right. So to answer your question, I have so this is a new rod, but it's the same rod that I've used for the Ned rig, same specs, but this is a brand new rod that TFO just came out with. It's from the Resolve Bass line. It is a 7'1" medium light rod. It's rated from an 1/8 to a 1/2 ounce in lure rating, and it's rated for 4 to 10 pounds. It's a medium light fast. I like to throw it on a fast action rod. I do not like to throw it on a moderate fast or anything, slower in the action wise. Typically on my reel, so my reel size is a 2,500 or a 2,000 is what to throw something that light. You want that spool size. I have 10-pound braid to an 8-pound fluorocarbon leader. If I'm fishing for big fish, like if I'm going to Florida or Texas or somewhere, where I know that there's big fish, I'll bump up to a 10-pound fluorocarbon braid or fluorocarbon leader. But for the Ned rig, I don't go any higher than 10 pound. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people, this is a mistake that a lot of people make when, you're throwing these light baits, right? These light wire hooks, right? You see, like, look how light that hook is, right? It's not a very stout hook. When you start putting 20, 30-pound braid and 12, 15-pound leader and try to throw a Ned rig on that, I promise you're going to bend that hook out. You're going to bend that hook out real quick, and you're going to get real sad when all those fish pull off of it. So this hook will stay intact. The bend and everything will stay intact with that lighter power rod with light line. And that's why you have this specific of a setup, the 7'1" medium light with 10-pound, 8-pound. So that's the setup. And that's the setup for every single Ned rig that I throw.
What's the jig head you prefer?
Well, I have a couple. So my most preferred way is the Owner EWG blockhead. Okay. EWG blockhead. I have it in like a naked, and then I have it in a painted color. This one's green pump. Wait.
Nope, that's the naked one.
This one's naked. I'm holding green pump over
what
here.
What are you, Paul? You colorblind?
I might be. So
hey, real quick, yeah. Time out. So you're throwing on an EWG. Do you always do it weedless, or do you ever have an open hook on it?
Sometimes. I should say not even sometimes. Very rarely will I throw it like this. And the reason I don't throw it that way is simply because it just tends to get snagged so much more. And I like to throw this shit in places where other people aren't throwing it. You'll see me throwing this bitch up into some wood laydowns. You'll see me throwing it in some big, large chunk rock that it's going to fall down in between and get stuck and wedged in there. I like to throw it in places where people won't throw. And that's why I like to go with the EWG.
So do you using the light line and the light rod, do you feel like sometimes you might miss fish setting the hook, trying to get it to punch through?
Nope.
All right.
Nope. If I feel that little tick, I just load them up. And honestly, with the, so I'm not trying to sound bougie at all, but I'm using.
Well, you don't have to, because you damn sure don't look it.
Also, when anybody says I'm not trying to sound bougie, they're gonna sound fucking bougie.
I'm gonna sound bougie right now, and I'm gonna tell you that I only use premium line. I will not go buy some shitty Bass Pro Shops off the counter line. It is Sunline, FC Sniper, or Super FC. It's what I will not throw. Like, my line is important to me, and my braid. Braid's braid. Let's be honest. Most braid isn't gonna break unless you're doing something stupid. And but the fluorocarbon is the connection where it's like, okay, that's probably the part that will fail. So I only use premium fluorocarbon. I will not use shitty fluorocarbon.
I got a question. So this is off of NED RIG. Do you hold steady with that philosophy all the way through?
With
so like fluorocarbon.
Yeah.
So one, I totally agree with you, right? So like something like a NED RIG or a drop shot, I'm gonna pay extra money on it, right? But like I run, as everybody knows, I run a shit ton of swim jigs, and I will run those on a fluorocarbon leader. I will use I don't give a shit what fluorocarbon it is for that. Like, I don't give a shit. I don't lose a lot unless my connection knots are trash.
When you get upwards in poundage on fluorocarbon, it starts to become more similar across the board. When you're talking 18, 20, 22, 25, it's 25, it's 20-pound line, right? It's so, you can really kind of do a lot with that where it's not really going to break and stuff. But when you're talking about those lower fluorocarbon poundages, 15 and below, I spend a shit ton of money on that because it's, it's the difference between landing that fish and not landing that fish. So, for this, like, I have no reservations whatsoever about crossing their eyes on 10-pound braid to an 8-pound fluorocarbon leader, because I know that as long as that fish doesn't have teeth, it's not going to break. And I'm not overpowering the line. I'm not using, the wrong power rod. Everything is the way it's supposed to be. My drag set, everything's good. So whenever I set the hook, like, I don't give a shit. Like, I'm just, it's like a, it's like a wild man, I set the, like, if you watch me set the hook on a Ned rig, you'd be like, this dude has problems. Like, he's got,
I was about to say, cause you keep talking about crossing the eyes, and maybe I should look at some of your videos, I guess. I'll take the hit on that. But I've never seen anybody, quote unquote, cross the eyes on a Ned rig. So,
dude, I mean, you honestly, if you watch most of my videos, you're probably not going to see me throwing a Ned rig very much. I hate it. I hate it. It's stupid, dude. I only do it to catch fish. If I can't catch fish, then I throw a Ned rig. I mean, I
know there to catch fish.
Huh?
We're out there to catch fish. I mean, you got to do what you got to do sometimes.
All right. So we've got your, let's recap this medium light braid to fluorocarbon leader on it. You've got the two heads that you talked about using, both EWG. Maybe sometimes you're exposing it.
Sometimes I do. Yeah. Not very often.
What is your so as Paul kind of talked about earlier, the market's kind of exploded on Ned baits. Every company has a fucking Ned bait now.
Yeah.
Some of them, just my opinion, some of them are fucking exploiting it fully. So I want to ask you, what are your top 5 Ned baits? Well, and I want to see if you hit one that, like, in my mind, I have one. Actually, I have 2 companies that I think are exploiting the idea, and I want to see if you trigger any of those.
So I only have two brands of Ned rigs
Okay.
that I'll throw. Two brands of Ned rigs that I'll throw. I have a third brand here, but I'm going to only briefly talk about them because they're a Ned rig, but so
I'll spoil brand number one. Listen, I'm going to spoil. He's going to say Z-Man.
It has
number
to be.
one.
Yeah, it has to be. So
Yeah.
you can't compare Elastec with any other plastic on the market, with exception of maybe Nico, because Nico is also used in a similar type of plastic.
Sure.
But the Z-Man Finesse TRD, right? It is virtually the only true Ned rig that I would say that's out there, right? You can say, oh, well, Yamamoto's got the new floater Ned rig and all that other but you're still going through them every, third fish, you got to replace it. Yeah. I can take this out on the Susquehanna with Angry Smallmouth and use it all day long, as long as I don't lose it, all day long. So this is number one, right? This is your basic Ned rig. It is, just a stupid little worm, right? That's the number one, the Finesse TRD. Number two, I like to use the Z-Man Ticklers. It's like a Ned rig body, but it's got some little appendages.
I love that one. I love that one.
They just, whenever, and especially in cold water, because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about wintertime. You throw this thing out there and it sits there. And if you're in current or any kind of water movement, and these four little deals right here, they just kind of like just flow and just move, right? It's called passive action. Passive action, where the bait is sitting still, but it's still moving. That is exactly what they want, because they get slow and lethargic in the wintertime as the water gets colder. They don't want to chase things. They don't want things to be bouncing all around and moving all crazy. They just want it to sit there and look like it's alive. And if it looks like it's alive, then they're going to eat it. But they might look at it for a little bit. So they're going to inspect it and look at it for a little bit. That's number two. When the water gets cold, it's probably number one. And when I say cold, I'm probably not talking about your cold. I'm talking right now, like here we have 38-degree water. That's cold, okay? So whenever it's cold, I'm throwing the Ticklers. And all of these baits are going to sound like a little bit sexual, really. So just bear with us, right? So the third one is the TRD Hogs, right? So it's very similar, right? It's got these it's a Ned rig profile, but it's got a little bit of appendages on there. You can see them there, right? So, but when this thing sits out there, I mean, I'm just holding it and look at these things. They're moving, right? Again, we're talking about a passive action on a bait that's not being moved, right? So that's number three. Number four, and I'm going to branch out from Z-Man, the Jackal Yami fish.
Let me see that thing again. What's on the end of that? Is it just a?
It is. So I got it on just a regular jig head because I didn't want to pull out all of my owners, right? Sure. So this bait, what I love about this bait is the density of it and how heavy it is. For a Ned rig, it'll cast so far, and if you're not worried about catching a whole bunch of fish and going through baits, like this bait is really, really solid. I would say it's the closest thing to the Finesse TRD. It just is. It's not going to last for as many fish, but it's still so dense that it does hold up to a good many fish. And they have some different color options than Z-Man has. Like Z-Man obviously doesn't have this color, right? They don't have that. So it has a couple different options.
What was the name of that brand again?
Jackal, J-A-C.
Yeah. That's
K-A-L-L.
the Japanese company, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I honestly contemplated even talking about it because I didn't want to talk about it, but that's what we're here to do.
That's okay. Don't nobody listen to this podcast.
Yeah, you're right. So number five is two baits really, but they're from local companies here. So this bait we have in the Susquehanna River. We have stone cats. I don't know if you've ever heard of stone cats. Right. So a stone cat is basically it looks like a little baby catfish, right?
Yeah.
So they very much look like the couple little things that we have that are active here in the wintertime. on the Susquehanna, and really they're active all year long. You can catch them all year long on it. But they're made from 2 different companies here locally makes them. One of them is called FITT Lures. Grab the wrong.
No, that's I think you mispronounced that. That's feet.
FITT Fit Lures.
Oh no,
So,
no. I thought you said FIIT. No.
So
it's
this company is the originator of the Stone Caddy, right? I'm pretty sure they were the first ones to make it. It's a banger of a bait here locally. There's another bait maker that made it recently that came out with a similar mold that, he has a really good plastic that he uses. So, he's got a good one there too. And that one's called Undercover Baits. But they're both local to me, right? So those would be my top 5. But man, one that I'm super excited about, and I think in the severe cold temperatures, I think that could really do some damage, is this stupid little deal.
That's a little trouty one.
We're going to talk about. Look at the size comparison here, right?
And for those that are listening and can't see this, looking at the size comparison, it looks like it's not even a little crappy jig. It looks like a trout, like Alex said. It looks like a little trout soft plastic.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a trout magnet.
So yes, very much so, very much so. So Z-Man, but see, here's the deal. It's Elastec. So it floats, right? It floats. So that's nice. And then it's also going to last a long time. So Z-Man came out with these little micro finesse baits this year. I think they put them out at ICAST. And I haven't gotten to use them yet, but I'm really excited to, because I think that this is going to be something that, one, that they haven't seen yet, but 2, their appetite, their metabolism, everything gets slow in the wintertime. So they're not out there eating all the time or eating big. A lot of times They're eating small meals. So this is going to be something that shows them a little something different. And Z-Man has come out, not only have they come out with the size of the bait, but they really kind of thought it through. And they also put out a jig head to pair with it. And Z-Man, to right now, outside of maybe crappy baits and panfish baits and trout baits, nobody else has this on the bass market. No one else has a bait that small on the bass market. So Z-Man's kind of, stepping out of the comfort zone a little bit there.
I think so if people don't know, so one, I can tell exactly by the baits that you told me, I can tell exactly how you fish a Ned rig, right? Because there's multiple ways to fish it. Ned, the guy from Ottawa, as Jabberhammer told us earlier, he's not from Ottawa. That was a little side joke. Nobody thought it was funny. You guys are just gonna let me roll with telling out bad information.
Hey, don't be picking on my accent there.
When did Canadians
Paul,
become Australian?
Yeah, Paul, what was that? Was that your Canadian accent? Let's hear it again real quick.
Let me clear my throat.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Let's get the penis out.
You want some Canadian bacon there? With a little Netty rig, yeah?
That sounds like a mentally handicapped Canadian.
It's the worst impression of a Canadian ever.
Canadian bacon ain't nothing but cheap, thin sliced shitty ham, eh?
Wow.
All right, well, as an international podcast, I apologize to all of our Canadians.
Ned rigs, eh? Let's get going with this, eh?
But I can instantly tell how you fish them by the baits that you picked, because you picked kind of, it almost sounds like you're doing a lot of dead sticking and sitting on the bottom.
Well, in the wintertime, yes. So in the wintertime, I'm absolutely going to throw it out there and let it sit, keep the line taut, and I'm going to, let it sit and basically work it very minimal. In the summertime,
you said you're keeping the line taut. What are you teaching it?
fucking ball.
I'm just going to keep the line tight to my reel tip. How about that? It's going to be just a straight
Jake
angle.
Keeps it tight to the tip.
So very tight, very, very tight to the tip. That is correct.
Well, that's a stubby. That's all you can do.
You're right. So, with that, keeping it, just where you're going to be able to feel exactly what's going on with it down there. That's what I do in the wintertime.
Okay.
Summertime, I'll throw it out, let it hit bottom and bounce it. I'll bounce it 3-4 feet off the bottom and then let it fall back down. I very rarely, I'm not the guy that goes and throws it out and lets it fall to a certain level and then retrieves it. I don't do that. That's stupid. Yeah. I have a different bait for that.
Hey, quick though, so you hear that a lot. I hear that a lot with folks who are fishing it in 30, 40 foot of water. They're targeting suspending fish. Are you fishing that deep where you are?
I don't like to, but if that's where they're at, then yes. But I have a different bait for that. I have a different bait for that. It's called a Demiki rig.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which is another, honestly, it's a different type of, if you look at it, it's a Ned rig, right?
Stop flopping that thing. Hold on. Stop flopping that thing around like a Thursday night stripper. What's the tail look like on that thing? Oh, that's what's the soft plastic on that?
This is a Z-Man. It's the minnows.
The minnow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's gnarly.
Again, though, but if I'm gonna fish the bait like that, I'm not gonna use a Ned rig for it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm gonna use a Demiki rig, and I'm mostly gonna use the Demiki rig for where the line ties at. The line ties different.
Yeah.
Right. And this is the way I want it to sit. So, for me, it's not, the Ned rig's not the right presentation for that. There's another,
but isn't a light line, light head Ned rig is kind of how it originated. And I don't think he might have been swimming it, but like the stories you hear is he was letting it fall and the fish were coming up and hitting it on the fall. Now, I don't know if he was fishing for smallies with this or if they were largemouth. I don't know.
Largies primarily.
Most of my Ned rig bites will come on the fall.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that is because of how slow it falls when you have this little chunk of plastic, right? And you throw it out there and it's only got a little bit of weight up near the head and it just slowly falls. Sometimes it'll spiral, but a lot of times when it falls, it's just doing this.
Mm-hmm. One more time.
There. So do you have one of those? Does it make that sound or is that just what you make the sound sitting in your kayak as you're fishing it?
This is why I don't put it on YouTube, because whenever I cast it out, I'm like, doo, 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 doo. And if I'm fishing deep water, I'll be sitting there doo, 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 for 45 seconds. Nobody wants to watch that on YouTube.
So I think you mentioned that, and Paul made a good point. So I think there's different retrieves, right? So in South Jersey, we've got the shitty muck bottom everywhere, right? Everything is an Atlantic City lady of the night with a muck bottom. And you
saw the dirty diapers leaching out into your waterways, creating dookie bottoms.
Listen, the dirty diaper bass pattern is the hidden secret in South Jersey. But
remind me, I got to talk about something when you're done.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't actually fish and Ned that way at all. I do the hop and swim method. The one that you said is bullshit. That's what I do. And that's so I'm with you. So I never used I did, and I saw very limited success using the standard TRD. And I know that's like blasphemy because that's like the original. That's the way to go. I saw better success with the tickler. That's the money one. That's number one for me. And number two is the Missile Baits Ned Bomb with that paddle tail on the back of it. If you're gonna kind of hop and swim that thing. But
yeah, tickler. Hey, real quick, a tickler is usually the best way to get the money shot too.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Fucking great. Now I got to write that down. And now people aren't gonna know. They're gonna be like, listen, this podcast is three dudes talking about ticklers and money shots, or is it about fishing?
I prefaced everything at the beginning of this and said how it was going to be overly sexual, and we're only talking about fishing baits. So
But you you never covered.
Y'all
So
are.
there's specifically two. So there's one that I am. All right. So both these baits that I'm going to talk about are, I think, cash grabs, right? And one of them would be that Strike King Ocho Ned rig.
Stupid.
Stupid.
Don't put salt in your Ned rig baits. If you put salt in your Ned rig baits, they're not going to stand up. They're going to fall.
Correct. And those things just don't fit. And then as much as I love Sixth Sense, and I love this bait,
Dude, no,
but
let me be the guy.
Fry is a trash Ned rig.
Fucking
bait.
terrible.
Yes,
Worst
it's
bait
a great
I've ever put on a hook. I would rather literally throw out a fucking hot dog on a hook than that stupid piece of shit. It is the absolute worst I've ever thrown.
It's a great Nico rig bait.
Okay.
It's a wonderful Nico rig bait. It is a trash Ned rig bait. And I have Mike Goes Fishing, friend of my channel, friend of the show. He has consistently sends me these fucking things. And here's what I figured out. They are a phenomenal Nico rig, which is why I think Sixth Sense just this week started releasing nail weights, like tungsten nail weights, which I also think is fucking stupid. Why would you get a tungsten nail weight when that thing's going to get bucked off? There's no way to hold that thing in the bait. But they have lead ones too, which is great.
Use roofing nails, cheaper.
You could use
big
roofing nails.
A big little ring-a-ding down there. I'm going to go buy these 6 cent Ned rigs and catch some giants out here and post them on the internet and call y'all liars.
Get it, man. I've never it's a 6-inch worm, right? I think it's a 6-inch worm. I'm gonna have to look this up.
It's 4.5. It's 4.5 inches.
Okay.
It's 4.5
inch Ned bait.
But
you can cut it.
So here's the thing. Here's why Sixth Sense came out with it, because of the big TRD. It is the best comparison to the big TRD.
Sure.
So the big TRD actually has salt in it. The TRD has salt in it. But what I do with these baits before I use them is I do this.
You're stretching it out and
to get all the salt
slapping
out
it
of
back.
it. I literally, when I snapped it back like a rubber band right there, I just had salt particles fall onto my leg. Right? I just had it happen again. So, but I get all the salt out of there. That way it maintains that floating properties a little bit longer. Otherwise, it'll get logged with, waterlogged and do that. So I don't know if the Yami fish has salt in it, because I've never tried to stretch it out like that.
Stretch it out. Let's see
Taste it. Just taste it.
Pull it out.
Bite it and taste it.
Yeah, bite it.
Put the whole thing in your mouth. There you go.
Yeah, it's got salt in it. It's got salt.
Hey, how close are we to you eating the fish flavorizer? Look,
damn,
he got a hair in his mouth. He like
that's salty.
Yeah,
that's real salty.
Salt. Is that more than the Elastec big TRD? Try that one. Let's see.
You want me to put it in my mouth?
Yeah, dog.
Yes.
Come on.
I mean, of course. That's what we're here for.
What do we got? Which one's saltier? I hope you guys are watching this one, because Jake is eating Ned bait. How's that one?
Look,
taste?
He's gonna drink his beer, and his beer's gonna foam all out his mouth, his mouth full of damn salt. Look, his blood pressure right now is off the charts. He's gonna have heart palpitations. He's gonna have mitochondrial infarction here in a minute.
Yeah. So the big TRD has more salt.
Really?
Yeah.
That's after you stretch it. You just told us, like, hey, I stretch it out, knocks all the salt out.
Hey,
I guess
Alex,
not, huh?
Alex, go get a crankbait, put it in your mouth until it's getting salt on it.
Yeah,
hold on, I got you. Hold on.
I got you. Oh, I got one right here. Better than a crankbait.
Ow! This one has no salt.
Skateboard has no salt.
Look at that little spray. Look at that beautiful spray.
Will you like that? That's a deeper one.
Oh, yeah.
A little deep. You got to get deep. The deeper you get, never mind.
You fucked it up. because you couldn't remember. You fucked it up, but that's okay.
I've never been that deep. That's why.
that's why you like that little mini thing or whatever.
That's why.
Hey, I
don't
like to do this on air.
Average. 4 inches is average.
I don't like to do this on air, but because Paul is watching a fucking basketball game. Paul,
not anymore. It's over, and I turned the TV off.
Great. I've got a tinkle. So can you try to do your fucking job while I tinkle real quick?
So Jake, what is your favorite hot dog toppings?
Ketchup, mustard, and
stop. No. Ketchup does not belong on hot dogs.
Okay, I can agree with you. I can agree with you to a certain extent. So preferably, I guess my favorite is mustard and sauerkraut.
See, that's a great hot dog.
Yeah,
no
mustard
ketchup.
And sauerkraut.
But you like red wieners, or you like the gray ones?
Red wingers. I've never had a gray hot dog.
Excuse me.
What's
all of them are gray except for the red ones?
What are you talking about? I've never had a gray hot dog. Have you ever had a gray hot dog, Sarah? No, we've never had gray hot dogs. Can you tell me what a gray hot dog is, bud?
I mean, if you go get some Oscar Mayer wiener hot dogs, they gray.
Great or gray?
Gray. Graeye.
Graeye. I think you spelled that wrong.
You know, sometimes don't pick on people who are colorblind and dyslexic. That's not nice. That's not nice.
I like it. So, I don't know, man. I like all beef franks. I like them beefy.
See, that's not a hot dog. That's a frank, and those don't count. They got to have pork, chicken, and beef, or just pork and chicken, or just
because they say it's all beef probably means that it's not beef at all.
Well, it don't matter if it's a hot dog or bologna. It's everything outside the tits and clits.
Okay. Well,
all right. Thank God Alex is back. Alex, we got a lesson on hot dogs. Jake has never seen a gray hot dog.
Have you ever had a gray hot dog?
Yeah. Have you ever been to Philly?
Yeah, I used to work in Philly.
Yeah, dude, you go to anything in Center City, those hot dogs are pretty grayish.
Okay, so we're talking about the old hot dogs then, like hot dogs that probably shouldn't be served to people?
Yeah, that's every Philly hot dog stand. That's why you never, I mean, if we're going to take a hot meat take here, that's why you never get a hot dog. What you get is a kielbasa instead. Super simple.
Well, you know, them hot dog stands put them hot dogs in that hot ass water. And when they put them in there, it looks like a TRD.
I know what you're talking about. I know. Hold on.
This is not your show. You don't interrupt me. This is not your show. We're the only ones allowed to interrupt motherfuckers on this show.
Honor, who you didn't even ask to come on to your show. So I'm talking to Alex right now.
You were the guest of honor the first time you came on. Now you're just, we can do what we want to you now.
So Alex asked me to come on the show. You didn't.
I did.
Paul. Okay, so let's talk.
He didn't even run it by me either. He just making decisions all on his own, like he ain't been gone the last 9 months. He doesn't
need you to buy off on it. This is his deal.
The best thing is when I talk to people to come on, I usually end the email and it says Alex, Bass and Brews founder and host.
Founder. He found it.
Yeah.
He found
it.
Probably on the streets. He probably found it on the streets of Philly, to be honest with you. But I lied to you, and I have had a gray hot dog. I've had numerous gray hot dogs in my life. Now that I think about it, because almost every single one of those hot dogs that come out of the boiling water that's been boiling for who knows how long.
The water.
Yeah, the
boiled water.
They probably got that. Honestly, they probably got that water out of a sewer, probably. Who knows?
Yeah, it's so delicious, though.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where they got it from because those hot dogs, like you just put as many condiments on there, all you taste is condiments, and then there's just like mystery meat.
I like how we went from Ned Rigs to this, I guess, in the short pee time that I took. But
you went pee, and next thing you know, we're talking about hot dogs.
You put me in charge. If you go tinkle again, there's no telling what we're going to be talking about. Probably
here's what I
South
will
Snake.
say, though. As somebody who initially grew up on the West Coast, when I thought of a hot dog, I thought of like you fucking go buy a hot dog, right? Like you throw it on the grill. It's a tiny little thing. You got to eat like 9 of them, right? And then when I lived in Center City, Philly for 5 years, and when you're talking about a hot dog there, it's like a meal. It's a fucking monster dog.
Fucking big dogs, dude. Like
big dog.
Philly is known for their big dogs. I mean, big dogs.
And that's when I realized I love big dogs. No,
my man loves them big. He likes them thick and juicy.
Alex, aka loving big dongs, swamp rat fishing, Costanawaga.
I feel like this is a rap song. Did they make a rap song off of this hot dog?
I don't know.
Thick and juicy, he said.
It sounds like them Philly hot dogs are like 2.5 Alex's tall. So I mean, they must be bigger.
See, why do we always got to come back to the man's height, bro?
I don't understand why
because
he hates
he's short.
The troops.
He's too old to grow any taller. So I mean, don't. It's just there.
Hey, dude.
I apologize for everybody here. I apologize. I'm looking at the camera because I'm going to cut this into a clip. So now we'll reset this. I apologize for Paul's comments because he hates the troops. I can't help that about him. He's just got a problem with people that protect his freedom. That's just what it is.
Not at all. I just pick on Alex because he's a short little, nice little. Just want to pick him up and jiggling him up in my hands. And
I don't think the minnows has any salt in it. The minnows doesn't have any salt in it.
Did you put it in your mouth?
Yeah.
Put it in your mouth. Oh my goodness. I can't tell if he's trying to play to our audience or the TikTok. I can't tell if Jake's going the other way where he's trying to be the cam girl of TikTok for fishing.
How much money do you think I could make just off of
putting baits in your mouth? I think that shit would go viral.
Feral? Like a feral hog?
Viral.
Are you speaking English?
No. Listen, as somebody who's been cutting all the social media posts and having to do the captions, fuck Paul. Like, he fucks it up so bad. I have to do so much editing where I have to like try to type out because you know what? I'm going to put it here. Paul, I want you right now to say the most Southern thing you can say, right? I want you to give me a 15-second clip of the most Southern thing you could say. And
oh boy.
I'm going to promise right now, I will not change what Adobe Premiere thinks you fucking say. And it's just going to roll on the screen. So let's hear it, Paul.
All right. Mark that down.
Oh, I'm marking it down.
Right? Yeah. All right. So when we're raising hogs, them hogs come out as piglets. And when the piglets come out, you got to rear them on the mama. And once they done rearing on the mama, you take them out and you got to corn feed them. And taking them out from the mama after you rear them, she get all mad. So you got to run around and hem up the mama so you can get the little piglets up into the corn fed stall. And then they all running around. And the mama, she just go off, gets humped again, and makes more piglets.
I literally feel like I just fucked my cousin.
Wait, hold on. You're from Central PA. That could be a true statement.
You're right. You're right. But I don't. Can we talk back? Can we go back to talking about fishing?
Hey, like, shit is going off the rails when the guest is like, can we get back to net? Shit is bad on the podcast when we got to get back to Ned.
Hold on. If Jake is confused on why we brought him on a show about Ned Rigs and he thought that it was going to last 2 hours about Ned fucking Rigs. Ned Rigs.
No. We just wanted to see you put turds in your mouth and then talk about pigs rearing piglets.
Dude, I mean, Paul, I love you, bro. I love you.
Oh. He's at a loss for words. Anytime anybody ever says, Paul, I love you, they're at a loss for words. They have nothing else to say. And they're like, how do I get out of here?
I don't want to leave. I feel comfortable here. I feel at home.
Man, if you were here, I'd hug a fart out of you right now.
I do what?
God, there's gonna be.
That caught me off. I said I'd hug a fart out of you.
I'm gonna need another beer for that. Hold tight.
Yeah, I think we're at the point. I think I need to grab a beer when he comes back. But Paul, we're at this point where, so we had this idea. So the listeners know we had this idea. We're going to talk about Ned rigs. Obviously, that was going to last 2 hours. And we knew it was going to get silly because that's fucking what we do. Right. And I'm ready to get back to Bass and Brews being a little more silly, but being semi-educational because we attempted to have experts on, but we got Jake instead.
We have never been not silly. I mean, I don't know. And that sounds like a dig at me for all the time that I was putting into this podcast while you were out on a fucking cruise in the deep blue sea, eating fresh lobsters and crabs and tuna.
So one, it didn't seem like a dig. It was a dig.
Dig.
It didn't seem like it. Yeah.
Dig. He said dig. He said dig. I was so confused. I'm like, did he just say what I think he said?
No.
Hey, we need to start putting Alex. Time out. Hold on. I'll finish your thought in a second. We need to start putting this all the YouTube video that comes out for these podcasts need to have captions on them now, unedited.
They're gonna be. But yeah, no, you're right. The dig is that Paul thought he was going to be the Joe Rogan of fishing for a while. And I saw him try to be less silly when he'd have people on because he thought he had to be the host. And he thought he was going to be Joe Rogan. And he got a fancy fucking mic now, too.
I did not think I had to be anybody but myself, but I actually had to be the host because you weren't fucking here.
He's like a chubbier Joe Rogan, though.
Oh, no, I'm way past chubby. I'm fucking fat. I'm obese.
No, he's
I'm an
fat,
obese
but
motherfucker
actually,
right now.
Listen, hot take, and I'm going to tag this one on our line because we'll see it. Hot take, Joe Rogan's fat. I don't give a fuck what people say. I know it used to be lit. My man is still eating Ned rigs during this.
Hey, here's what's funny, though. I could take my fat ass and outpedal either one of you on any body of water. No questions asked.
That's because you ain't got no dick in between. What?
Is that because you have a motor now? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I will take the motor off and I will carry my gear and both of y'all's gear and still outpedal you.
Absolutely.
All right,
Distance and speed.
What motor did you put on your kayak?
I got a Tarova 80-pound thrust.
Okay.
Thrust.
I pedal as fast as it goes. Just it, but
thrusting is good.
But the thing about it is, I don't have to fucking pedal to go that fast anymore.
Fair enough.
And when I do pedal with the motor, I get to go even a little bit extra fast.
Yeah.
Jake, what are you in? Are you in a bullshit Hobie too?
I am. Yeah. So let me. We talked a little bit about this on the first one, right?
Oh,
you just got your NAR.
So let me revert back. When I first started kayak fishing, my first kayak was a Bass Pro Shops Ascend 12 FS 12T or some bullshit. It was the most terrible boat I've ever been in. It was absolutely awful. The seat, I was in it for 15 minutes before I felt like I had hemorrhoids. Wow. It was just a fucking terrible shit show of a boat. And I literally took it out one time. I put it back on the roof and I drove it back to Bass Pro and returned it. That's all it took. I drove it back to Bass Pro that day and fucking returned it. And then I went and I bought a Cadillac of kayaks. And I still believe it's probably one of the best fishing kayaks that has ever been made. Is the Old Town Predator PDL.
Yeah, the Predator. Solid boat.
So, dude, oh my God.
Solid boat.
I think the best thing about that boat is how fucking fast it would go.
Yep.
Dude, I could have that thing up around 5.5, 6 miles an hour, but I was in a lot better shape then. And I mean,
I say you were way less fat back then.
Fact, 100%. Peanut gallery. How about we fucking calm down with the laughter over there, okay? But the production quality over here on this side is just not good. So, but yeah, like that boat was super fast, and
Yes.
I loved that boat, and I actually got invited to be on the Old Town team, and I was like, man, I thought like I fucking made it. I done made it. Like what? I made it.
I want to hear this.
You want to see Paul? Come see him. He's
Come
not
on
very
in.
careful.
Come on in.
So,
Sarah, I can't sing or carry a tune. I don't know the fucking song. I just know it's called Sarah.
So I get on the Old Town team, and I spent a couple years on the team, and I was an Old Town fanatic, right? I loved Old Town, and then they brought us down to Florida to test out the new autopilot boat. And at the end of that testing phase, they said, we want to get everyone's thoughts. We want to video you guys talking about your thoughts of the boat. We're going to put you in front of the camera. And I was like, well, can we talk about it first? Can we talk about it? And they're like, sure. What's wrong? And I'm like, well, this boat sucks. And they're like, what? I'm like, this boat sucks. Like I can't use this boat where I fish. I fish in the Susquehanna River primarily. I need what do you need? A foot and a quarter or a foot and a half of clearance underneath the boat in order to use it. Most of the water that I'm fishing in, I'm only in about 2 feet of water.
Damn, right? Alex couldn't even stand up in that shit.
So that's fucked up. It's so fucked up. So that's pretty terrible. That was rude, Paul. That was rude.
Paul hates the troops.
Are you sitting on phone books, Alex? Like, what's the deal over there? Are you sitting on phone books?
Sorry, this is my real height. Hold on. Let's make this clear for everybody at 101.
Is he going to put the chair down and his feet are going to
This is my real height, okay? I'm sorry. All right, this is normally where I'm at. Okay.
It just honestly, Alex, it looks like you have a huge black dong in front of your face when you do that. So don't do that again. Don't do that again. So, you might want to edit that out. It might get canceled. I don't know. So I told him that
black dongs are great. It's okay.
Yeah, they are. But I told him, I didn't like the boat. Right? I didn't like the boat. I didn't want to use the boat. They offered me one for free, and I'm like, no, this just isn't my thing. Like, it's not what I want. I want to stick with my Torqeedo, and I want to use the PDL drive. So they were cool with it at first, and then 3 months later, after I had won Lake Seminole on the Hobie BOS, they had rewrote the pro staff contract where they said that they couldn't they would not allow you to use a competitor's product if you were on the team.
Yep.
So I asked for clarification. I'm like, is an outboard motor a competitor to a trolling motor? And since they're both in the kayak propulsion category, I was basically forced to make a decision. And that decision was turn my back on my friend and my mentor, Jeff Little, who works for Torqeedo, or stay on the Old Town team and use a boat that I know wouldn't work for the way that I fish. So I chose to leave the team and go separate ways. And at that point in time, how do you go from arguably the best kayak on the market to a better kayak, right? I'm not going to, I don't know what boat you use, Alex. So I'm sure
Old
that
Town.
Okay, cool. So how do you, here's what I wasn't going to do.
Yep.
I was not going to float around in a live well. I mean, a native.
Yep.
I was not going to use a Jackson drive that would potentially fall apart.
Yep.
And what other option was I left with? I'm not going
to go. You have to go Hobie. Those are I feel like those are the two heavy hitters right now when it comes to the kayak world. Those are the two, and they're both great boats. And I totally understand your situation with that. I totally get that, man. You got to go to a Hobie, and I
kept the Old Town for about 4 months before I finally made the jump and jumped to a Hobie. Initially, I'd gotten a PA-12 360, and it just wasn't right for me. I didn't like it. So I upgraded that later that year to a PA-14 360, and I found a happy spot. Like and one thing that I learned about that boat, man, was, just having that ability to go in super duper shallow water and still be hands free. Having that ability to go through grass easily.
Flutter kicks, yep.
So I was like, man, I'm like, this is kind of sick, right? And then when you look at they have the kick up function, and then, just the way that boat is so riggable, that's why I've stuck with it, right? Yep. I had a period of time this past year where I was like, you know what? I prefer the pedal style motion of like a bicycle pedal. And Jackson came out with their new boat, the NAR. And I was like, man, I'm going to try it because I prefer that style. I don't like the kick, right? So I was like, let me try this boat out. So I bought one, tried it out. And, Jackson did a freaking phenomenal job improving their drive system. But there was just they left some meat on the bone, right? They didn't do some things to make it as good or better than the Hobie. So I had to switch back. To be able to maintain the way that I like to fish. So I'm still at 14.
I know this is a Ned Rig show, but I want to make this is a good point that I want to
Jake Harshman
reiterate
at this
on.
Point.
This is why finding a kayak that, one, you like, and two, that fits the waters and the style of fishing that you do.
100%.
And if it is a crescent paddle kayak, or if it's a Hobie or Old Town or Native, it doesn't matter. Get a boat you're comfortable in, and one that fits your fishing style and the waters you fish in. That's it. You might still be in the Old Town, Jake, if you lived down in Florida, or you lived where I lived, and you were fishing big bodies of water. It doesn't matter though. People want to talk about boats and shit. Me and Alex gives me shit about the Hobie. I don't talk shit about other boats because I ain't never been in one. But so find a damn kayak that you want to get in. And
also,
now we
that's
can go
why
back to Ned Rigs.
No, that's why I give him shit, because he was in a fucking Pelican Walmart special and then went right to a Hobie. He didn't do anything else.
So
he test drove them. But
I was in a Walmart Avalon 120, which is a damn good. Now the seat sucks.
No.
And none of y'all know what this boat is. There ain't many of them out there. This thing tracked like a damn arrow in the wind. It was fast as shit. But it had the little damn gel seat.
Arrows get moved by the wind a lot.
It is a figure of speech, Jake. Shut the fuck up.
I want to go back real quick. The three and maybe
interrupting me in my dialogue right now,
because nobody gives a fuck about your shitty Walmart boat that you only had. You've actually talked about this boat so many times on this show that it's probably going to be a fun fact that the Bass and Brews historian Tori is going to give out on. You guys ready for this segue? On the December 27th live show that we're doing, the inaugural Bass and Brews end of the year kegger. But she's probably.
I hope I can be there.
I fucking hope you're not. But no, I have a question, and after I just shit all over Paul, it's a stupid question on my end. That Hobie 360 drive, right? Is it instant reverse or no?
No.
Okay.
No.
So
let me just go back and touch on something that Paul said. Paul said that you got to find the right boat for the water, so on and so forth. And that, that I'm in the right boat for the water that I'm in. He is 100% right. I am in the absolute best boat that I can be in for the water that I primarily fish and for what I like to do. But I will tell you that if Old Town wouldn't have shit on me and given me an ultimatum, I would still be in an Old Town.
Gotcha.
But when you try to make me choose between what I consider family and a business decision, I'm going to choose family over you every single time. Jake. Jeff Little to me is a mentor. He's like a father figure. That was a no-brainer. I knew what decision I was going to make whenever it was given to me.
Jake, right now, choose swamp rat fishing or jabberhammer.
Fuck. Why'd you do that, bro?
You set yourself up.
Alex, okay. I'm so sorry. but Jabberhammer gave me my first opportunity, and
wait. Hold on. The
hold on,
opportunity
let me finish, please. He's like the homosexual brother that I never wanted, right? So I gotta stick with him, bro. He's my dude.
But he wouldn't have had a platform to give you if it wasn't for me.
You wouldn't have a platform to have Jake on a second time if it wasn't
But
for me.
You weren't here. You were off doing. You were doing like wannabe sailor things, and I was in the Air Force.
Chair Force. I don't want to hear about it.
You're only a branch of the military when we're under war.
No, that's not true anymore. Check your facts. And then 2, I don't respect any service who hasn't been around for 100 years. So you're done.
Give me a break. Listen, my boss at work is a fucking coast guard. I don't know, what do y'all call each other? Like coast guardsmen?
Coastie.
Okay, so he's a coastie, and because of that, I have a little bit of hatred for you. Just gonna be honest. I don't like the guy that I work for. He's a fucking dick.
What's his name?
I'm not gonna tell you.
He listens to the show.
I hope that he does. I literally hope that he does, because he's getting ready to retire. And honestly, if the dude was on fire, I would not piss on him to put him out.
Wow,
that is mean.
I would not waste my piss.
Listen, that's not all of us. Listen, I've had rude comments said about me as a coastie. It had nothing to do with work ethic. It had to do with what I did to people's daughters. So,
what did you do to their daughters?
No, this ain't the podcast from that shit now.
That's for
Alex is married. Alex is married. He can't talk about
podcast. Let's hold on. We're gonna totally sidetrack. I mean, I want people to know Paul's trying to keep this quiet. He's building this, right? But I want to make sure we're using the platform that me and Paul have built, right? Paul's coming out with a separate podcast. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Paul, tell us about it.
I'm going to go live every Tuesday at the same time frame as Bass and Brews, and it's going to come out at Friday morning.
No, but for real, Paul, let's talk about this concept. We got Jake, the Umbrella King here. He's trying to do what he can to drum up TikTok views right now. TikTok gifts.
Jake, where we at on your goal?
4 out of 20. So I'm so glad we're not doing this. I'm so glad that I'm not going to achieve this.
You're going to do it anyway. You can't leave here without doing it.
Hold on. Let me see if I can get on his live, and let's see what we can do to pump it up.
Fuck you, Alex. Don't do that shit.
Oh, I'm doing it.
Go buy a bunch of stuff.
I'll fucking do it myself. How much does it cost?
I'm blocking you right now. If I see you come into my live, I'm blocking you 100%.
Use the 35 cents that we've made on this podcast and buy as many gifts as you can.
There he is.
Listen, can we fucking bitch? No.
What's the gift I have to use?
Share it. Share it, Alex. You got to share it too.
Son of a bitch. Anyway, so as we're talking about, aren't we going to talk about winter fishing? Like,
well, it was supposed to be Ned rigs, and then Alex left, and we started talking about hot dogs, and then
we've transitioned from that, right?
Yeah, we have transitioned. So hold on, I'm supposed to give fucking a stocking. The fuck is that? I don't know how to use this. Hey, TikTok, can we just do like normal money value? Like, I don't know whether to give him a rose. Oh, holiday stocking, 5 fucking coins. Shit, how
much does a coin cost? $30 each. That's a $90 stocking.
I know, it's only like $3. It looks like. Oh, yeah, you're hoarding yourself out for this little? Come on, man.
Yeah, I do. Listen, I'm sitting here tongue fucking a goddamn TRD tubes. Okay.
Here we go. Boom, I just paid for it. Watch this happen real quick there, Jake.
He needs 16 though, Alex. Give him 16.
He needs 16. I just how do I send? Oh, you're fucked, dog.
Hey, share it. Share it on Bass and Brews ticky tack too.
I can't. Hey, bud. Guess what? Just so you guys know, I paid out of my own wallet to give all 16 to him.
You motherfucker.
Hey, and because I paid for all of this out of my own money, no. I want a full.
That's not what was agreed upon.
There was nothing agreed upon. There's nothing agreed upon. No. I want a pinky. I want a pinky little up in there.
All right. Hey, if y'all are listening, stop and go watch it. 1:14, 59 hour. Come on, do it.
You guys might want to like not listen to it because I think he's gonna vomit and it's gonna be amazing.
Yo,
there it is. Yeah,
dude, what the fuck just happened? I literally just got banned from TikTok. Can y'all see that?
You didn't get kicked off your live.
Why?
Live was discontinued, but it says
I was suspended for violating our bullying and harassment policy. We don't allow statements intended to mock, humiliate, embarrass, intimidate, or hurt an individual, or content that glorifies, normalizes, or promotes sexual harassment. I did that. Threats to dox or hack or in order to harass, blackmail another individual, content that dehumanizes or mocks victims of violent tragedies. I did that. Or other bullying, harassment behavior. Fuck me, right?
Well, we got you to your goal before you got kicked off, so you got to eat whatever that shit is.
You do.
Let's go eat it so we can get back to winter fishing as you gag.
Can y'all see that I fucking dipped my finger in there? Can you see that?
No, I think you need a little bit more.
No.
Yeah, a little bit more. No, a little bit. There you go.
There you go.
Get it in there, big guy.
Let's go.
Listen, I paid my hard-earned cash for you to vomit on air.
Look, that's retirement money he spent on you.
Listen, if I know
that's probably a Mandy's hard-earned Christmas delivery money that he spent.
100%. 100%. I put it on her account.
Yeah. All right, Jake, let's go because we gotta get back to winter fishing.
Oh, we're never getting back to winter fishing.
He did it. He's turning green.
He's holding it. You got it, big guy. Describe. No. Describe what it tastes like.
Talk to us.
Come on. What does it taste like? It's an audio podcast.
I literally feel like I just put a mouthful of rusty pennies in my mouth.
Oh, that's not that bad.
Yeah, shit. I've done that a million times.
You're such a baby.
Hey, is your wife gonna let you kiss her tonight now?
Fuck no. She didn't let me kiss her anyway. Come over here. Everything I got fucking kicked off my live for bullying and harassment. Yeah.
And banned.
Earlier they were filtering your comments.
Gay. That tasted terrible. That tasted awful.
You said it tasted like pennies. It's not that bad. Quit being a little bad. Air Force baby. Like, it tasted like pennies.
Fucking Coast Guard. You're not even a fucking branch of the military.
He is the first line of defense to America.
Well, come on. Do you even have guns?
Yes. Big ones, too.
He kicked him off.
Anyway, I'm kind of upset. I have never gotten banned from TikTok before.
You specifically said there's no way we could have done that. That's all you.
Look,
you're right.
When you come on Bass and Brews, we're either going to raise you to the upper echelons, the top of the top,
or you're going to become Dark Waters.
You're getting banned.
Man, I miss Josh, dude.
I do too.
I miss Josh. Where's he been?
You tell me. I want to hear that podcast, but it ain't coming back ever again. So anyway, let's get back to winter fishing. We have had at least a 87-minute detour on some really glorious talk.
Oh, Jake is so mad that his TikTok's
Oh my
not
God,
working.
you are bald as shit.
Golly, it's like an egg with a goatee.
Hey, mark that one down.
All right,
Hey,
I'm gonna listen. I
Hey.
gotta go piss.
Hey,
Yeah, go
rub
pee-pee.
some of that stuff that you just tasted on your head, and let's see how shiny it gets.
Listen, maybe some of those gifts I sent you could buy you some Bosley.
Hey, you know why I'm bald?
Because God hated you.
Well, no, because my wife always has her hands on the top of my head. She's like, "Oh my God!" I'll be right back.
All right, for the fans, the Brewskis, we have
This is a shit show of shit show proportions.
which I think is great because it's going to lead into ready for the double plug again. Hey, so honestly, we'd like to see all you guys show up for this December 27th, 8 p.m. Eastern time on the Swamp Rat Fishing YouTube channel to see this end of the year show. This is our way to what's the right way to
Record
say
a
this?
podcast first and foremost. Get
To
a
record
podcast
a
out.
podcast. Yep. But also like to thank all the guests that have come on this last year. This is our this last year is a huge year, and I've said it before. I'll say it again. Props to Paul for keeping this podcast alive, as some shows have said they thought it was going to die, and now I'm by myself. They all left. But props to Paul for keeping it alive. Props to you guys for loving the show as we're putting it out. And dealing with, I know when I came on, and obviously I'm the star of the show via looks and sultry voice. But you guys dealing with the Motel 6 Chronicles and how bad that was. You guys literally muscled through everything. And so we want this show to have your favorite guests on that we had previously, and to give you guys an opportunity to be on this show too. And again, you guys, let me know your name. Email us at bassandbrews, all one word, at gmail.com. So you can come on and join us. To be honest, it probably won't be for the whole time, right? We've got a lot of folks who want to join, so we'll be cycling folks in or out. But this show's for you guys. You guys have done, I don't know. Paul's very nonchalant, but I'll tell you what, he wrote me this really heartfelt text last week, right? And he talked about how the only way he can perform, if you know what I mean, is that he knows that you guys are so into this show as much as we are. And it's awesome. And 2023 is going to be such a big year for Bass and Brews, and I can't wait for you guys to see what we have in store for you.
It's the same thing as this past year, so good luck.
But anyways, we've got a new guest. We've got the spokesman for the Egg Institute on the show tonight.
Jake,
Fuck you.
Jake, for the next Addams Family movie, can you please go try to be Uncle Fester?
Baby, they're making fun of me because I'm bald.
Jake, can we get you back on TikTok to do the Wednesday dance? The dance.
Hey, Jake, ask Sarah to bring you a light bulb. Let's see if that bitch will light up when you put it in your mouth.
All right, she's going to get a light bulb.
He's already eaten multiple Ned baits. He hit his quota on TikTok Live and then got booted from it.
They only banned you because you hit your goal, and they don't want to pay out.
Well, no, he hit his goal no matter what, but he was upset. Here's what I'm confused about. There's 4 people watching. You weren't going to get any more money, Jake.
You're right. I was so glad that nobody was going to give me enough money to make me have to put that shit in my mouth. I felt so confident about it. I was like, I'm good. And then you fucking came in and just dropped dimes like boop, 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 boop.
Listen, this is the first time I've ever had to pay for a guest, basically.
All right. While my wife is on the way to get the light bulb, let's talk about fishing.
Okay, go ahead.
We don't
You're
talk
running
about
the
fishing
show
on
now,
this show.
Jay.
All right.
You're in charge. You're in charge. You can say and do whatever you want to say and do about Alex.
Careful.
No, we're not doing that. I'm not editing this show.
I don't have anything bad to I don't have anything bad to say about
Fishing.
Alex. I don't.
Yeah.
So
You've already said it all.
that's
ran
not
out.
true. I didn't mean any of it. So we're talking about Ned rigs, right? That's a wintertime bait, right? It's an anytime bait, but it's primarily something that I'll throw in the wintertime. It's a go-to. It's a staple for me. But there's so many other really cool wintertime baits.
Is that fur?
Hold on. That's a dog. That's a dog. Hey, shut up. Fucking dog. He doesn't know I'm on a podcast.
The best thing is if the dog went like, my bad.
So this
Alex,
is a little
mark
tiny,
that down. We need that as a sound bite.
This
My
is a
bad.
little tiny marabou hair jig. What is
Mm.
this? That's not a light bulb.
But it's 4 of them.
It's 4 of them.
Yes. Yes.
It's the only way you'll have hair is if you have that on your head.
Give me the fucking horns. I'd rather have the horns.
Nope.
Just ask his wife for the
put it back.
horns.
I just fulfilled your TikTok requirement. I want that on your head. Yep.
There we
No.
go.
I want those on the back of the whole. No.
Yeah.
Listen,
Swap
you're my
'em.
puppet
Lights
now,
in front.
Jay.
Lights
I
in
paid
front.
money for you. Lights in front. This is the weirdest strip club environment I've ever been to.
Yes. Oh. Oh my God. Y'all
What do we
have
got now?
Yes. This is you're the only person that's ever dressed up for this podcast besides me. Should I go get my pink cowboy hat? Purple cowboy? I don't know what color it is. It's one of them 2 P's.
It's purple.
Wait,
Remember?
we were talking about fishing for 5 seconds. It was so awesome.
Well, and then your wonderful wife brought you props.
What's your wife's name?
Sarah.
Sarah. You're
Come on.
amazing.
Sarah.
Come on in, Sarah. Come on. Come on,
Your
Sarah.
girl.
baby's coming. Come on.
Come on, girl.
Come on.
Yeah, listen, Sarah, at this point, you're holding up the whole podcast.
Yep.
Turn it up. I'm gonna be
whole
awake until
thing.
midnight if you don't
Yep.
come in.
Nope, it's all going to be held up, Sarah. Come on.
Just come in and just flash your titties real quick since we're not. Well, Paul would love to see your titties now. I would love to see
No. I got hey.
Hey, Sarah.
Sarah.
It's great.
Oh,
I don't understand why you married an egg, but you did.
My dick is that big around.
Whoa, easy now.
Go ahead.
They don't call him tuna can for no reason. He's only that big along and that big around.
All right, go back
I'll
to
scrape
your
the
marabou.
sides, but I won't hit the bottom.
Go back to your marabou wintertime thingy.
All right. So a marabou hair jig, right? So marabou is a very it's a material that can just
called fur.
flow, right? It just
Fur.
flows well.
It's marabou fur. It's from
It's
the marabou.
another type of passive action jig that you can toss out there, and the hair just kind of moves, right? Here's another.
Kind of what I look like in the bathtub.
Basically 100%. So here's another.
But Jake doesn't because it has all that hair.
So here's another marabou hair jig, right? And this one's a little bit more. This is Kaylin's marabou hair jig. This one is the fucking tits, right?
Mm.
For the Susquehanna, this really works really well.
Are you throwing it on the same setup as the Ned rig?
Same setup, yeah, same setup as
Okay.
the Ned rig.
What's the
100%.
weight on that again? You said.
This is maybe an 1/8 or a 1/4 ounce.
Okay.
But it's a really good hair jig. And then there's another marabou one. This one is a stand-up head. I don't know if you can see. It's kind of got like a little flat bottom there.
Yeah.
But it stands straight up. So this one is made by a local company. That local company, Fit Lures. That's another really good one that I like.
And you're not running a trailer, obviously, on
No,
these, right?
no, it's something very minimal. And then there's bucktail.
Yeah, I was about to
or-
say bucktails. How come we're not
Yeah.
rolling with that?
So bucktail doesn't flow as much as the marabou does. And when that's really good is when they just don't want it, when they don't want it moving at all. Right. And this just kind of sits there and sticks straight up. That also is another really good wintertime bait. Fuck, I can't see with these things on. I gotta take them off.
That's fine. You can take them off. Hey,
So-
let me ask you this then. When do you throw the Ned rig versus the minuscule
jig.
hair jigs?
In the wintertime, I'll start with a Ned rig until I don't get bit with it. When I don't get bit with it, I move. So if I'm starting with this, which is how I start with the TRD, I'll start with this. If I'm getting bit, I won't put it down until I stop getting bit. Once I stop getting bit, then I progress into this to see if they want that passive action. That's the ticklers, right? So Sarah loves the ticklers. She absolutely, I mean, oh my God, she'll wet the bed with the ticklers like a damn water fountain. If they're eating that, what are you laughing about, Alex?
Nothing.
I mean, they catch bigs. I
do
get excited about catching bigs too.
Listen, this shit gets wild.
But somehow she caught a small.
She got a small what?
Bald-headed man.
So anyway, in the same category with the ticklers is the TRD hogs. I will be honest, I don't typically use this in the wintertime nearly as much as I will the ticklers. The ticklers tends to just work a little better, but this is another alternative option. This is more of something that I would throw in the summertime, though.
So, hey, so everything you've been showing have been small to super small.
Yeah.
Are you ever upsizing at any point in the winter? And let me ask you
100%.
this: Are you majority smallmouth fishing? Is this what you're doing because on the Susky smallmouth, or both? Or I'm sure
I'm
that
about
large.
to show you. I'm about to show you some big baits that I'll throw for the Susquehanna smallmouth too. You want to
So,
see them?
are you fishing for any largies at all during the winter? Or is it all small?
Sometimes, yeah. It depends. It depends on where. Honestly, it depends on where I can get a group of people to go. I don't like to go fishing in the wintertime by myself because that's an easy way to die.
Mm.
No, that's melodramatic, but okay.
That's an easy way to die, dude.
No,
Yeah.
it's not. It's
You
Fast-
flip your
Fast
kayak.
moving water, cold.
You flip your kayak in a river by yourself in 38-degree water. You could have a real bad
you
day.
just said you're in. Okay, never mind.
But
All right, go ahead.
But
You
the
can flip-
Susquehanna can be a damn mile and a half wide, so it ain't like you can get to the shore real quick.
Yeah, and plus
Sure.
you're thinking if we're talking about fishing wintertime, I'm looking for 6, 8, 10 feet, 14 feet holes. Right. So if I flip in that water under current, I just don't like to fish in the wintertime by myself.
I got it.
That's smart.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's
So
smart.
I'm gonna get
But-
so much hate why everybody saw me roll my eyes, but that'll be another episode.
in the early part of the wintertime, when we're talking the water's in the 40-degree temps, right? We're talking big.
Yeah.
Okay. These are baits that I will throw for smallmouth. We got
He's
a river,
showing us big old swim baits.
river to sea S waver. This is the 168S, right? It suspends, and when you pull this thing through the water, it does this real wide turn, and then it comes back and does this real wide turn. They will fucking eat this thing. They will eat it, right?
Particular color, or it doesn't matter.
I'm not going to talk about the color because the color is going to be dependent upon your fishery, but I'm not going to talk about this color for the Susquehanna.
So, what would be the specific color for the Susquehanna?
None of your damn business is what
I'm gonna
he just
cancel the TikTok donations real quick.
All right.
Too late. He's already got kicked off.
I'm going to give you juice. Not
Oh,
that you
there
give
we
a
go.
shit.
We got juice.
Not that you give a shit. Your listeners might. This is called Pac-Man.
It is pretty.
It's golden
Right.
shiner style deal.
It's a golden shiner. It's
Yeah.
all it is. It's a golden shiner. But Pac-Man is also a color whopper plopper that I throw a lot in the summertime. River to Sea makes their whopper ploppers in a couple different sizes, but Pac-Man, they only make 2 sizes. They make 90 and they make 130. And those are primarily the bait colors that I will throw. There's bone as well, but Pac-Man
It's always
is
good, right?
This is a Savage Gear. This is a Shine Glide 185. This bait is also the tits. There's another company here locally that makes baits called FOM Lures, FOM. That dude he lives here in Harrisburg. He tests everything that he makes here on the Susquehanna River, and he catches giant smallmouth on his glide baits and his crankdowns and stuff. So if we're talking about the early part of winter when they're still feeding up on shad, they're still out there just eating, getting ready to prepare for these 30-degree temps, I will throw big. I will go big. I will go big. I have not had the opportunity this fall to go big. I haven't been fishing the Susquehanna a lot. A lot of that has to do with the fact that I was down at the TOC, but I will go big. Another big bait, and this one is the Mega Bass Mag Draft.
Yep.
6-inch or 8-inch, it don't matter. They'll eat both. Just a pearl color. I don't get fancy with it. I do. So if it's dirtier water, I will throw the perch color. Perch works really well in dirty water.
I just found the local Dick's where I'm at in South Jersey. I literally just bought them today. I was out Christmas shopping, and those mag drafts, the 6-inch ones, they had on sale for $6.99, which I feel like is a steal.
Yeah.
So I bought the whole rack. I just bought it. It was a just what you showed, and then a more bone-ish one. Yeah.
Dude, that is like, I think these are like $15 a piece.
Yeah, they were on sale, which is really funny because I bought the whole rack. So I literally just bought 8 of them, but I had like the reward points. So I walked out paying $1. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to throw these on yet because I'm not a swim bait guy, but I was like, these have some worth, and Dick's Sporting Goods does not know their worth.
Yeah, no, you definitely got a steal of a deal.
Yeah.
But again, we're talking about early winter time. We're talking about colder water.
Is that okay? So he's showing the A rig. So this is something that's been everybody knows I love 6 Sense fishing, right? And they've been pumping out their version of the A rig, their Divine Umbrella rig, right? So would you say that's an early winter, or is that an all winter bait?
Depends on where you're at regionally, but here in the upper Susquehanna or the upper Northeast, I think it's an early winter thing. I think when that water dies out, when that water gets below 40 degrees, they're not chasing anything.
Go ahead, Paul.
It's an all winter bait down here for us in the Carolinas.
Yeah. For them, yeah.
Because
your water temperature getting below 45?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
When?
We'll get in January, February. Usually it'll dip down. Last year we were 39, 38 in a couple of our lakes. So
and you were still lakes getting on the A rig?
I wasn't fishing it, but I know people were. I know people who were. But these are all largies. I mean, but you're catching these fish around riprap road beds, so those fish are suspending and they're coming up. They're suspending, so they're catchable at those points.
Mm-hmm.
If they're suspending, there's really no better bait than a jerk. Ow!
Yeah. Well, a jerk bait, yes, but the forward facing sonar technology has made it where you can throw that A rig out on suspending fish and reel it through them and pick them off. I mean, I know people who do it.
You're right.
It's there. Right. Hey, I got a question going into deep winter with you on the Susky. Do the fish congregate in certain pools?
Yes.
And you just go to those pools and you fish until they bite? Can you always catch them? Because they congregate in pools, right? This is let me say my knowledge and then you educate me. My knowledge with the river fish is they're going to get in the deep pools, and that's where all the fish predominantly are. Can you always catch them there? Are they always biting? Or
they're not always catchable.
Okay, but they're there.
So here's the thing. And deep is a relative term, right?
Right.
when we're talking about deep, we could be talking about 8 feet of water. Okay,
Mhm.
on the Susquehanna, that could be deep. Deep could be 20 feet of water on the Susquehanna. I know of like 3 or 4 holes where there's 20 foot of water. In most recent years, because of the flathead catfish invasion that we've had, a lot of the flatheads are occupying these deeper wintering holes that have been historically wintering holes for smallmouth, are now being heavily occupied by flathead catfish. So the smallmouth have gone to the less likely wintering hole. Maybe it's the big eddy just down from the wintering hole that has no water movement. What you need on a moving body of water, you need a couple things. You need stagnant water. You need water that's not moving, right? And you also need water that is somewhat somewhat deep, because the deeper the water, the more regulated the water temperature is going to be, because it's not getting as much sunlight.
It's more stable, so the weather
Right.
doesn't affect it as much. It's just stability's better.
Yes. So that's what you're looking for. But in recent years, these fish have migrated out to maybe some of the less likely wintering holes because the flatheads have come in. On the lakes, when you're talking about largemouth, I feel like they'll move more than the Susquehanna, than the smallmouth will in a moving body of water, because in a moving body of water, those fish don't want to be out in the current. They don't want to be out there expending energy that they don't have, because their metabolism has gotten so low that they're not eating but maybe once or twice a day, right? And when they do eat, they're eating small. They're not trying to chase down what they're going after. So they're not out in the heavy current. They're not out in faster current. They're in the slower, slack current areas that have a little bit of depth to them. If you can find rock in those areas, hard bottom, you've really found a good wintering hole. You found an area where there might be 20 or 30 smallmouth. When you get a bunch of them packed up together, they are more catchable, because you have 30 chances versus 1 chance, right? So you automatically you're gonna get one of them to eat. If you can get them fired up, that's a whole nother scenario. You can get them fired up and catch them, on every cast, like it's doable. But when that water gets down into the 30s, man, it really gets tough. Like you might be going out fishing for 5 bites, but those 5 bites are probably going to be big.
Yeah.
All
right. So my other question with this then in the winter and in the fish congregating, what forage are they feeding on?
Mostly crawfish.
So crawfish, are there any bait fish that they're feeding on? I know you said perch earlier, so I'm assuming perch. I'm assuming it's too cold to have any kind of thread fin. Okay, leeches. Oh, but little catfish.
The little stone cat, because what the stone cat does
is that like a little bullhead or something?
Similar. But what they do is they kind of nose down and they get in the mud and the rocks and they eat the little microorganisms and shit that's in there, and that's what those smallmouth will come by and see that tail just kind of like going like this, and they'll just eat it up. That's why that's stone catty.
Say that was the FOTT. That was the name of the brand on that one.
FITT.
Shit, I
keep
fucking that up.
That's okay.
I really like that one. I think there's a couple. I mean, that kind of looks like a small crappie bait, right? But I think it has a unique head to it. That's a solid looking Ned bait.
It is.
If you guys, I'll try to. I say this all the time. I'll put it in that show description. But I fucking won't. But it's FITT. What's their website?
If you just search them, I don't know what their website is, but if you search FITT lures,
we'll figure it out right now.
They're the only ones out there.
We'll figure it out right now. FITT. Fishing. Let's see. It's FITT lures.
Correct. So if you put it on a little jig head.
Oh my God! I just looked at these up close. These are insanely awesome.
This is what it'll look like on a little jig head, right? You get this little deal out there. So this is actually a Ned jig head that I didn't talk about. This is the Hayabusa. They make a small little Ned rig head, but it has like this double keeper or a
Yeah.
double hook guard. And it really keeps this thing from getting hung up. This is like a 16th ounce bait, like jig head. But it really keeps that bait from getting hung up in stuff because it just doesn't let anything get in there. That's a good jig head to use for that stone caddy. Hayabusa. I can't spell it. Don't ask me to.
Can you spell that for? Listen, if you spell it,
Hiabusu. Hayabusa.
Stop. If he was going to spell it, he'd get another 16 bananas sent to him.
No, he got banned. But yes, I did spell it right because I'm a spelling.
These caddies. All right, so obviously, I don't know if Jake is associated with them or not, but these like I'm literally looking at them live right here. These fitlures.com stone caddies.
I am not
amazing. I feel like you could nose hook them for a
you could drop shot them
for a drop shot as well. Like a short these look really good actually.
So I am not attached to them whatsoever.
Yeah.
They're my good buddy who made a bait that looks like theirs is he owns the Undercover Baits, and he has a company that or he has a mold that he makes that's very similar to theirs and very similar action. He is my friend. I don't even know any of the people from Fit Lures. I just buy their shit because I know it works. So that's a company, like I said, that's a company that will have a good bait for that little stone caddy. The deal, man.
Just looking right now, so you can get 10 stone caddies and 5 jigs, at 1/8 ounce for $15, which is an insane deal too. So,
yeah. Not a bad deal.
I might actually pick that up. That's pretty solid. If I ever decide to quit this stupid jig mission, so
in talking about when we're talking about more wintertime baits, we talked about the A-rig. Another one though is a multi-arm spinner bait.
Yeah.
Right? This thing is like you. This one is God, what's the company? I forget the name.
V-Twin. It's not the V-Twin. It's the they changed names.
Guggen.
No, this is a Mullix. This is a Mullix.
Oh, that's a Mullix. Are you sure?
Yeah, this is a Mullix. So this bait, it has 3 arms on it, and the head design is really just kind of designed to just kind of roll across the bottom. Like you can throw this thing out, let it sink, and then just kind of like pull it across the bottom, and it just doesn't get hung up because of that head design. But this thing is freaking fantastic in the wintertime, in the early part of the winter. Like same time you would throw an A-rig is the same time you would throw something like this.
You'd go A-rig down to that then.
Yeah, like if if they stop eating the A-rig, then you throw like that tri-arm spinner bait. It'll really work. Anytime that water temperature is in that 45 to 55 degree range, you really can't go wrong with a spinner bait of any type. I think that they'll eat it. This one here is one of the new Shimano spinner baits. This is a Jackal Super Eruption Junior. My favorite spinner bait of all time that's not made anymore is a Jackal Super Eruption, not the Super Eruption Junior, but the Super Eruption. That fucking bait it's unreal. The action that it has, the blade thump that it gets. But a spinner bait, any kind of spinner bait will work really well in that 45 to really even 60 degree water. That spinner bait really will work. It's a fantastic bait for that time of year. But when you want to slow down, when they're pulled to the bottom, they're down there on the bottom and they're just kind of hanging out and they're not doing a lot of movement. This is the new Berkeley Project E.
Mm-hmm.
It's very similar to the Mega Bass Dark Sleeper.
Dark Sleeper
And the Project E are fantastic. The Project E has a really good like weedless design on it. It has like a really strong piece of like monofilament built into the bait that you won't get any dying off weeds and shit like that on it. But it stays on the bottom and it scoots right across the bottom. It's nice and flat. And that little tail just kind of kicks just a little bit as you're reeling it across the bottom. That works really well in the wintertime. A tube. How do you guys fish your tubes? Like a regular tube, how do you fish it?
If I don't have a lot of the tube heads, but if I get a tube head, I'll fish it with a tube head, or otherwise I'll just Texas rig it with an offset and fish it that way. But I'll tell you this:
typically fish a tube with an exposed hook.
I do. Yes.
If I have the jig head for it, I will. But in the summertime, I'll tell you this: in the summertime, I will Texas rig it on a Carolina rig and drag that damn tube around on a Carolina rig. But anyway, we ain't talking about winter. We ain't talking about summer fishing.
So this is called the stupid tube. Have you ever?
Stupid tube. Yeah.
Stupid tube is a good option for if you're fishing and you want to get weedless with it. Obviously, we would be ridiculous if we didn't talk about a typical jig, right? So I have I have a jig preference though, right? So I started fishing when I started fishing a jig. I started fishing with the Kitech tungsten jig, and it's great. You have to fish the Kitech tungsten jig on a spinning rod though. I feel like if you fish it on a casting rod, you're probably going to bend out the hook, and it's just not going to, like, that keeper is just kind of shitty. It's like a real small little keeper. Like it doesn't do a whole lot. So I started exploring different options, looking for different options. And what I came up with was I found a company called Queen Tackle. Queen Tackle makes a tungsten jig. It's a tungsten peanut jig. And it is very much a finesse style jig, very much like the Kitech. Kitech is right here, right? The Kitech is on my right, and the peanut jig is on my left. Look at the keeper difference, or not the keeper, but the weed guard difference.
Yep.
Right. So the weed guard on the Kitech jig is very flimsy. It's very small. It doesn't really keep shit from getting inside the hook. Right. The peanut jig has a nice weed guard to it. And this jig it's the line tie. If you look on the Kitech jig, it's like a 90-degree line tie, right? On the peanut jig, it's not 90 degrees. It's up a little bit. So it really allows you to get that bait where it's coming through the water and everything is up, and you're not just dragging it across the bottom. You're dragging it, and these are up in the air, up in the water as you're pulling it across. This peanut jig is by far my favorite jig to throw ever. And if you look on this one, I have one of those little mud puppies on it, or one of those little stone caddies. Right?
No, that looks money, man.
That's a solid little deal right there.
This isn't winter fishing, but this is Queen Tackle related. Their hammerhead jig is badass. They got little BBs in it. It's a tungsten head with little BBs in it. And so it is based off the sound that the crawfish make when they're down on the bottom, that little clicking sound that they make.
Oh,
yeah.
And I'm not a jig angler at all. But in the summertime, I will fish it. Or the late spring, I'll fish it a good bit. And that's typically the one I throw, that or a mop jig. And I've caught some nice fish on that queen seat, or that Queen Tackle.
Queen Tackle. So I mean, I hate to give away this kind of juice, but they make the closest bladed jig to the jackhammer too.
Yep.
I've speaking of jigs, obviously, if people know, I've made the stupid decision to only fish jigs until pre-spawn. So
yeah, we see you hitting the terracotta pot every other day on TikTok.
No, it's off the pots. Actually, I stopped the last couple of videos because they're. I actually, if anybody does YouTube, they know like how you have to be committed to showing fish and this and that, right? So I released a whole video where I didn't catch a fucking thing. Just struggling figuring out the jig. I've never swim jig. I got that one down. But
when you don't cast it off,
fuck off. But using a micro jig, a compact jig, and a regular size football head. and trying to work those through my waters. It's been a struggle. I almost caught an otter. It was on camera. I fucking didn't release it because I caught that motherfucker in his tail, and I thought I was gonna get hate for it, and he eventually worked himself free. That's probably the weirdest, like most freaked out I've ever been on the water. But you're right. The jig's the way to go. It's a fucking struggle bus for me though, and I fucking hate it. I'm gonna learn it though, and I'm gonna love it.
So the thing, I mean, you just got to commit to it. And when they're eating a jig, though, you don't have to commit to it. You're going to want to throw it.
I mean, that's what everybody says, right? But that's the thing. Like, you got to commit to it because it's a way different bite. Like, I fish the fuck out of a flick shake, right? Flick shake and a swim jig. You give me those two baits, I feel like I'm pretty productive wherever I go. But I know there's limitations to that.
So let me give you an alternative to the jig that I think you might like.
Ned rig.
No. Well, yes, but no.
Wow.
So a wobble head, a swing head.
Oh,
Okay.
hell fucking yes. I love me a damn swing head.
This is a Z-Man Pro Cross, right? The bigger
man, you signed on Z-Man. I feel like you're just
I'm not, dude. I'm really not. But
I feel like you're deep into them. No, I'm just messing with you, man.
No, I know you are, but for me, it's a cost-effective issue, right?
100%.
About going through baits, like, yeah, dude, I'll spend $5 and get 3 baits, but my $5 is going to last me longer than your 6 packs of fucking whatever you bought, right? Because these things, I could fish this thing for like 3 months before it falls apart. Right? So, and then Z-Man makes these special heads where the snake locks, they're called snake locks, but they have this little keeper. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's like a mustad grip pin.
Okay.
It has a swing head on it.
Yeah.
So, when they make shit like that, like it's hard not to buy into it and buy it. And then once you do, you're like, well, shit, like this is really working. So you don't change.
Right.
But yeah, man, like the jig, that's a good alternative to the jig. It is a jig. It's just a jig without a skirt. Right. And if you want to get fancy, then fucking tie your own skirt on there. Like you can tie your skirt on there.
It's also a good alternative. It's a finesse presentation of a crankbait. So I do a lot of crankbait fishing in the summertime. And when we're catching them on the crankbait, if we're in a school and they quit biting, the next lure that we'll throw in there is a swing head. It's and they call it the finesse crankbait because it's doing the same thing. It's digging into the bottom. It's got a little shimmy shot to it.
Who calls it that? Who calls it that? You?
Everybody that knows anything about fishing.
I don't know. I've never heard anybody who knows anything about fishing calling the swing head the finesse crankbait.
You don't listen to podcasts and you don't fish swing heads, so you wouldn't know.
Just don't.
So you're right, Paul. You're right.
I know I am. You chose me over Alex, so you're going to agree with me because I am right. I have never been wrong and not admitted it.
Listen, I'm the Sonic to Dr. Egghead over here.
So it is a finesse crankbait type presentation because it moves side to side. It moves side to side because it's a swing head, and it has whatever chunk of plastic you put on there, and it's just slowly digging across the bottom. But it's digging a whole heck of a lot slower than a crankbait will, because in order to get a crankbait to dig, you got to keep it reeling, right? So you know if you're using that swing head and it's just sitting there going side to side, just side to side, but you're reeling it, you're retrieving it a lot slower.
Well,
so,
wouldn't that be like a scrounger head?
Well, no, Scrounger's really not. Scrounger's more mid-column.
All right.
Yeah.
So there you go.
So the Scrounger, to me, this is much more like a chatterbait.
Yeah.
Because you have this kind of like this wobble that it does.
Yeah. Not a bottom contact.
I think usually. The Hog Farmer makes the best one out there. And they also have the best bait for it. They have that spunk shad. But this spunk shad, dude, like when you're pulling this thing through the water and it's just kind of wobbling as it's coming through the water, this little tail back here just it just very inline vibrating. It's a solid bait. I actually have a spunk shad, a 4.5-inch spunk shad that I fish on a Ned rig head.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good option too for Ned rigs.
You have held up a lot. The
Yeah,
soft
my man's got
plastics that-
so many baits.
The soft plastics that you've held up tonight, the majority of them have been very dark colors, at least from what I can see on the camera and being colorblind. But you've held up a lot of dark colored soft plastics. Not a lot of shaddies. I mean, you can shush me all you want, motherfucker. It's on camera. But you've held up a lot of dark colored, not a lot of shad colored patterns. Maybe it's just because of the forage being primarily crawfish. I don't know.
What color are your crawfish in the wintertime?
I mean, mine are purple.
I don't know. I've
guessing
never
because I don't
seen a
fucking know.
crawfish in South Jersey.
He's not lying to you. He's really not lying to you. But so most of
I
the
gauge
crawfish-
my baits on the color of diaper.
There you go.
Oh,
there
shit,
you go.
I forgot. Dude, I forgot. I literally forgot because you were talking about the diaper pattern. Dude,
Hey, did you forget?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
So the absolute best fucking pattern in the summertime in the Delmarva region, Delaware, Maryland, all those little fucking mill ponds that have no hard bottom at all. They're just silt and just gross.
Also, all of South Jersey. Yep.
In all of South Jersey, the shopping cart pattern.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It's
Tell me that
money.
the shopping cart
Money.
pattern is
Shut
not
up.
fucking money.
No, we're not talking about it. Shit's a cat. I also like to call it the baby stroller pattern. 'Cause
Oh
that's-
my
I've
God,
caught
dude.
So many fish off a baby stroller. Like,
Dude,
it's insane.
I've caught some giants off of
Yeah.
fucking shopping carts. Giants.
Hey,
Dude, they'll
speaking of
stack 'em.
shopping carts, I want to back up a little bit. The invasiveness of the flathead catfish. Are you going to start doing some catfishing on the Susky off your kayak and keep them bitches, fillet them? Are we going to do a catch to eat flathead with you coming up? Are you going to help
ain't gonna
eradicate
catch
them
me
bastards?
You're not going to catch me eating a fucking thing out of the Susquehanna River.
You know what? Don't be a bitch.
I would like to not get cancer. How about that?
That's fair.
Show me scientific evidence.
That's fair.
Paul, if you come up here and eat something out of the Susquehanna River, I'll eat it with you.
Done.
All right, hold
We'll
on.
make that
hold
shit
on. You're
happen.
being dramatic.
hold up,
'cause
hold up.
I've eaten off a tidal river crappie. That's got to be way worse than your Susquehanna flathead.
Not even close. Not even close.
Is the Sussy is that tidal at all or no?
No,
Or is that just a straight flow? Okay.
It's straight flow.
Just run the mountains.
So the Susquehanna is hold on one second. I'm looking for a couple baits.
The water comes from the mountains, which is very terraneous.
That's not actual
Paul
truth.
looks like the broke
Nobody
ass
asked you.
version of John Cena right now.
I'm what John Cena would look like if he was fat.
You
And
look like
bearded.
what John Cena would look like if he had gout.
Alex looks like a 2022 version of the Oompa Loompas. Flat billed hat and hoodie.
Y'all are fucking mean to each other.
I mean, he's my podcast husband. I mean, I got to treat him like he's my podcast
I
husband.
feel like as Jake's looking up baits and then he made that comment, I think Jake just has female friends that are just nice to him and say like, no, everybody loves a shiny head. It's awesome.
Hey, Alex, when he when he's looking backwards again, he's got a credit card swiper on the back of his neck.
He does. I noticed that earlier. I didn't want to be that mean. There it is. Cha-ching. That's actually where I deposited that TikTok money so he could eat it. All right,
I mean,
Jake, find
y'all,
these baits
seriously,
quick because
hold
we're
on,
about
hold
ready
on.
to wrap it up.
Seriously though, Jake took his hat off, and I'm like, "That's fucking Uncle Fester."
Yeah, it is.
Oh, here we go.
I mean, this is in a good way, man. He's famous.
Dance with my
He is
hands,
famous.
hands.
I mean, you really. Next time you come on, we're gonna send you out of the Bass and Brews account, we're gonna send you the Uncle Fester costume. I love you, Jake. I'm gonna hug a fart out of you when I finally meet you in person.
All right, so I just pulled out a metric fuck ton of baits. We're not going anywhere anytime real soon.
No, we are. We've got 5 minutes left.
Well, I got to make this quick because we can't talk about winter fishing without talking about jerkbait fishing.
Okay, well, make it quick.
All right, so best jerkbait is not the Megabass Vision 110.
No, it's the
It's the
H2O
Provoke
from
106.
Academy. H2O from Academy.
It is the Lucky Craft Pointer 100.
Oh, yes.
The Lucky
Good
Craft Pointer 100 is by far favorite jerkbait. It just is. The Rapala X-Wrap, also
Old
solid.
school.
Solid.
Right? So the new Berkeley Stunna.
It's
It's kind of got a soft spot in my heart a little bit.
I hate that.
I also love the Rapala Ripstop.
Yep.
What's nice about it is it fucking just stops.
It stops. It'll stop and suspend real quick.
It does what
I like the H2Os because they're like $6.59 a piece, and I lose a fuck ton of jerk baits for some reason.
My second favorite jerkbait is right now the Jackal Re-Range. What I love about this jerkbait is it's so stupid to me. It's not the action. It's not the bait. The bait doesn't do anything special in my opinion. But when I cast it, it fucking clicks. It clicks because it's got that weight in it.
Yeah.
So whenever it's like an audible sound that just soothes my.
He loves it for that, but also Jake is sponsored by Z-Man and Jackal because I feel like he said those two companies more than any other company on this entire podcast.
Not true. Neither of which is true. What is true is that I don't have any money in my bank account because I bought a bunch of Jackal and Z-Man shit. But I will say so recently the two newest jerk baits that I've thrown that I really like. And I don't even know what the fucking name. I think it's called Nishine. This jerkbait, in my opinion, rivals the Megabass Vision 110. But a jerkbait, and I'm going to hold it up so you guys can see it. Your podcast people aren't going to be able to see it. But this is the Shimano. World Minnow.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you can tell.
Yeah.
But I'm holding it still right now. And can you see that?
Yep, They had those and the crankbaits at the Classic this year, and I'm like, ooh, those are.
It flashes without moving.
Yep.
You literally jerk this thing through the water, and it'll sit there and flash.
Are those available in the States, or are you ordering them from Japan?
No, I've gotten them at Susquehanna Fishing Tackle down in Marietta, Pennsylvania. So they've I think. I haven't actually used them yet.
Those are cool.
I have not used them yet, but I think that this jerkbait is going to fucking take over the Megabass Vision 110. So real quick, I'm going to talk about three other baits that are all similar. The lipless crankbait. You can't go wrong with a lipless crankbait, right? Nishine Lures, right? They make this lipless crankbait that has like this little a weird line tied to it, like it moves a little bit. This is one of the best baits to yo-yo that's made out there right now. I love this bait to yo-yo. Yozuri. The Yozuri something vibe. I don't know. My absolute favorite lipless crankbait for either a steady retrieve or a yo-yo retrieve. Love that bait. Blade baits. Wintertime bait. You're literally talking about you drop a blade bait down and you just let it fall in front of their head and then you just fucking pull it up. Paul, pull it up. You see how Paul's pulling it up right now? Paul's doing it wrong. Paul's doing it wrong. Yes,
not down here. Not down here.
He's doing it wrong because what Paul's doing is he's jerking it up and then letting it fall right back. Jerking it up and letting it fall right back.
I'm not doing it the way I'm on camera trying to. Anyway, go ahead.
If you jerk it up, let the line get tight and then slowly drop your rod tip.
This is a whole nother podcast about fishing blade baits because Sharon Harris is the blade bait fishing lake.
So you jerk it up, slowly drop your rod tip. That's where people make a mistake, because whenever they just jerk it up and then drop their rod tip immediately and that bait starts fluttering down, they miss the bite. They miss the bite completely, because that fish will hit it on the fall as it's falling back down, and then they'll never feel it. So you literally follow it down tight with the line with the rod tip and just let it fall slowly, and you control how fast it falls, and you're going to get bit more. If you're
I feel it every time I jerk it.
Yeah, I bet. So if you're fishing super deep, I want to show you. So this is the Mega Bass. I think it's called the Dynavibe, Mega Vibe. It's something, I don't know. Dynavibe. It's a really expensive blade bait.
It's way better. No, the other one's way better. The metal one's way better. Yeah.
This is 1.25 ounces. Oh shit! Got my hook stuck together. Hold on. 1.25 ounce blade bait. We're talking about super, super deep water.
Bensky.
Ledgehog. This is a Tennessee company that makes a blade bait that I bought whenever I was down in Tennessee for one of the Hobie tournaments. And oh my God, does this thing have an action to it? And you can fish this thing in fucking as deep as you want to fish it. As deep as you want to fish it. You could be 30, 40 feet of water fishing this blade bait. You're going to get down there to them. But again, the key, when you jerk it up, let it fall slow, right? This thing will kill in deep water. Absolutely kill in deep water. Can't stop talking about winter fishing without talking about a flat side crankbait.
Baller.
This is an evergreen. I think it's the Flat 4. It has a real tight wobble. It doesn't wobble real far. They want that tighter wobble in the wintertime whenever the water's colder like that.
Spoony spoons.
The old spoon. Can't go wrong with a spoon. But if you're going to use a spoon, put a swivel on it, because otherwise you're going to twist all your line up and be really pissed off when you lose a fish.
That's it, Bo. That is it.
That's it.
Did I do it?
That is it. That is it. We have covered all the shit that most people would fish, and we spent the majority of it upon my stupid fucking Ned rig.
And we also talked about gray hot dogs.
There's an hour to an hour and 8.34 minutes in here where this podcast went into the land of unknown.
It was the best part. I mean, it wasn't just the best part. What?
Can I talk about one more thing?
Is it about egg omelets?
Negative.
It's got to be less than a minute. Less than a minute.
Okay. My favorite Z-Man color. My favorite Z-Man color.
The fruit punch bubble gum.
Nope. Yoga pants.
Yeah. That's a solid color. Yeah.
Yoga
it's a real dark color.
Dark.
Yeah.
Does it have the camel toe up at the front?
It should, because I would eat it.
You've already eaten.